Top of the rising. Um, I just had a motherfucking epiphany. Um, and for me, right, epiphanies is a snapshot of occult knowledge. Something that you need to know to a level of maybe urgency. Um, excuse me. During a breakup, well, actually, let me go back for a second, just a split second. Leading up to the breakup, my body was showing signs of extreme levels of stress. There was things going on with my body that I could not explain to myself as to what was going on, because I didn't have any of these symptoms showing up in any type of way before I began to work on a relationship that I wanted so much. Excuse me. And it came to a point where I was going to the doctor, like I was scheduling visits. It started every 2 weeks and then it ended up every week. To the point where my doctor explained to me that my insurance coverage is not going to continue to pay for these visits because they have ran every single test that needed to be ran, and physically my test results came back fine. Everything was fine. So because there's no extenuating circumstances that I needed to extend health care, the insurance at some point was gonna like not pay for the visits, that I would have to come out of pocket, but there was no need for me to come out of pocket because all my test results are fine. She then said to me, "What I'm about to say to you, Ms. Briggs, I don't want you to be offended at what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say to you that perhaps maybe you should speak with someone, maybe a therapist or something, because at this point, it is either severe levels of stress or it could be a trauma response that you are making these things up in your mind because of, again, something that you're dealing with that could be causing you extreme stress is mental at this point," is basically what I'm saying. And I think that maybe it would be helpful to you to speak with a therapist because, again, um all of your tests came back fine. So there's nothing physically like wrong with you. I took that with a grain of salt. And then I began to realize that sometimes people don't know how to, maybe even professionals don't really know how to be professional when it comes to telling you the absolute truth, right? So moving forward, um, I got to a point where I absolutely had to take what she said into consideration. Now, I was torn because I have not ever, I always was like, I don't fucking need to talk to nobody. I don't need to, put nobody in my business. All of that type, I was really on that type of time. And so I was dealing with it within. And then a very close friend of mine said to me, "Your light is out." And I'm like, "What the fuck you mean?" And because my defense was up now. Even with people that I had cared about at this time, my defenses was up because I was saying to myself, it's someone that I love and that, well, I assumed loved me, can take me through this type of shit? Who can I really like trust? So at this point, my defenses is up towards everyone outside of my immediate family, which, you know. And I'm like, what the fuck you mean? And she was like, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm telling you that you have not been the same since you have been going through what you have been going through. Now, I know that people change, but the change that you're displaying is drastic, and it's like a downshift. Like, you're not, to me, you're not yourself, excuse me. You're not the person who I thought I knew. You have such a passion for certain things. I don't even see the spark in you anymore, And I'm saying something now because it's a concern for me. The reason why I'm bringing all of these things up is because I think it plays a crucial role in the right now. Right now, I suffer from, and I don't want to put this in an atmosphere, but this shit is just like so real, it can't be denied, right? Um, some days I suffer with ailments, right? So one of the ailments I have is plantarthritis. I don't know if I'm saying that shit right. Um, Lower back pain. And that's basically it for right now. Um, but what I've noticed is that um oftentimes physical pain can be connected to trauma. Once again, I went to get my annual physical from my doctor when checked everything out. Everything is okay. I did set up an appointment because I explained to her, what the discomfort I was feeling in my heels and heel spurs and such, and she recommended me to go to the fucking foot doctor, in which I've done that, and the foot doctor's like, okay, you know what, you need extra support, blah, 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 in your shoes, so and so. And the moment of epiphany that I've had that allowed me or led me to the belief, excuse me, damn, it's like they don't want this shit to come out. The epiphany that I had that led me to the understanding that sometimes the pain that we experience is connected to traumas, because as I was soaking in my beautiful bath, the message came to me that you're experiencing these things because your body is just getting to a point of catching up to that actual trauma and trying to find a way to release it. So I have had vacation time, and in my head, and also journaling, I said to myself, I'm going to write down all the things I'm going to do on vacation, and I'm going to take the time to do everything on vacation that I don't get a chance to do while I'm working. I have not been able to do anything on that list. So far, I've been on vacation for 7 days, going on 8. And all I've been managing to do is sleep. I feel so drained and so tired. Yes, I understand that it has something to do with work and my work schedule and working all the time. But now, because of the epiphany, I'm also aware that I'm entering another phase of my life. But before I can walk into that phase, I have to shed a lot of the negative experiences that has affected me. And because it has affected my mind and my thought process and my heart and the way I feel towards certain things, it also affected my body. And me resting a lot has everything to do with me preparing to go into the next phase, but getting the rest that is needed, because I have been in my boss babe, boss bitch, alpha female, spearheaded, masculine energy, whichever type of way you want to name it. I have been doing that for decades and decades and decades, right? With working, with maintaining a household by myself. Again, I was put in a position to have to be able to do that. I could have defaulted and been like, nah, I'm not with none of this shit, and just let the chips fall where they may. But I have not ever been that type of person. So me and myself had a conversation. It was plain and simple as, okay, bitch, we just got to get it done by any means. You do what you need to do to make sure that the family is well. I have done that. I have been the sacrificial lamb for a very, very long time. I don't want to complain about being a sacrificial lamb, because I think that that is a default mode when it comes to people that we love, such as my children and my significant other at the time. A situation presented itself and I refused to allow my family to sink. So in order to save the ship, I needed to become the captain to keep us afloat. I have done that. That is a part of the sacrifice. To me, it's a healthy sacrifice, because I did not want my family to drown. So I have done that. I have been operating that way for many, many years. And I think that the leading up to the breakup and then the actual breakup was like a huge breaking point for me, and also a learning pinnacle. It means that there's a point in time that I didn't recognize, but I'm recognizing now, that me being a sacrificial lamb is over. That I no longer have to sacrifice myself on any level for anyone other than myself. To a degree, it's difficult to accept, not because I'm not focused on my well-being, but because we are creatures of habit, and me keeping my family afloat and operating a certain way is what had got us through. Me being a sacrificial lamb, because how they say it's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. So me being that became a way of life for me, like second nature. So I have to shed all of that, in order to go into my next level, which is, I am hoping, is a softer life. Because I don't want to be a lifelong warrior. I don't want that for me. I got a glimpse of a softer life during this vacation where I'm able to rest. My body is trying to understand the decades and years of trauma that I've experienced through different situations, the buildup. I have to do something about it because I refuse to allow these past situations to define my mind, my body, and my spirit, define me as a person. This is why it is so imperative to work out during the healing phases of your life, because you need to be able to push all of that energy out and away from you. You need to be able to transmute that energy and allow it to empower you. So, as my body right now is learning to accept the things that have happened in my life, I've moved forward the best way that I knew how at the time. Now it is time for me to release all of it and begin again. Start anew. Begin anew. A newer chapter, a newer version of myself is emerging. And I believe that that's also part of the reason why I've concluded that I am not ready to have a relationship, a romantic relationship with anyone, is because I am under reconstruction. I am rebuilding the woman that I am right now and who I have become, not becoming, the woman that I have become right now. And in doing that, I need all of my resources for myself. I can't be the sacrificial lamb anymore for anyone. I have to become selfful. And selfful is my opposing word to selfishness because, you know, the dictionary defined the meaning of not being selfish as selfless, right? Selfless acts of patience and kindness. But this this chapter for me isn't about, if we're going to not go by the dictionary meaning and go by the actual way the word is put together. This chapter for me is not about being selfless. It's about being selfful. I'm not going to be less of myself in any fucking way. I'm going to be more full of myself. I'm going to not just love myself, but love myself tenfold. Show myself every single part that I was giving to other people in hopes that they would give that to me in return. I have to now give it to myself. The soft life that I am in dire of, that I am getting a taste of, that is what I want for myself. And in order for me to achieve that, I have to be selfful, not selfless. I need to be selfful, full of me. And being full of me does not mean being full of shit. And it does not mean being rude or hurtful or unintentional towards people that I care about. It means that I have to have a more focused intent on being the healthiest version of myself. And I am looking forward to that. And while I'm just a little bit saddened because I hadn't yet started my list on what I wanted to do for vacation. Get everything, because usually when I go on vacation, I'll plan a trip, right? And as much as I love to travel and I love to do those things, experience different cultures, um, part part of the reason why I began to travel was I liked the carefree of it. For a certain amount of time, I get to be carefree. I get to live in this world where I don't have to worry about a motherfucking thing. The kids are fine. My loved ones are fine, and I'm on this beautiful island, eating the freshest of food, being healthy, living healthy, looking good, smelling good, and the realities that are on the other side of the world where I live at, working and paying bills, are just void at this time. I don't have to worry about any of that. That doesn't have to be my primary focus because I get to live in this temporary escapism, which is what I so want for myself, right? At this time, because when I'm in this reality, I am the sacrificial lamb. So I am sacrificing everything that I want to do for myself for the betterment of others, right? And so fast forward to now, I said to myself, with this vacation, I'm not going to plan a trip. I am going to honestly get some things done that I didn't get the chance to do at all because of my work schedule and everything. And I'm going to sit with myself and figure out what I want and put some new things into practice. And it just goes to show you how the universe works because and how sometimes we can get in our own way, because even though my intent was still progress, the universe said to me, but darling, in order for you to even get there, you have to start with rest. You need the energy to be able to do those things. You need to be able to transmute all that negative energy that has been compiled up in your body and dealing with everything that you had to deal with. You need to transmute that. You got to figure out a way to push that shit out so that you can have a source of energy renewal to be able to get those things done. So, this short time of vacation, um, I don't want to be disappointed because I couldn't or didn't, not that I couldn't, I didn't start the list of things I wanted to do. I am going to extend grace to myself and love and allow this to take place as naturally as possible. This ascension of stepping into the woman that I am right now. It is a process. It is not an easy process because, again, we are creatures of habit and we do what works and we stick to that because it has always worked. Forgetting that before we got into the routine of doing what works, we had to try it. It wasn't done before. We had to try it. We tried it. We see that it works and we stuck with that. Very rarely straying away from what we've accumulated that worked. So now I have to shed those habits and some of those beliefs and some of those things that worked because it is not working for me in this phase to be the sacrificial lamb, to keep pouring and pouring and pouring and give so much of myself that I feel absolutely drained and to a degree defeated, that I have no one pouring back into me. I need to reserve my energy for self. I need things in reserves for me. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm still learning. And it is a beautiful, beautiful phase. as difficult as it is. So that's where I am in a healing process. And I just want you to know that if you have reached this level or if you are getting to this level, I wish you so much luck and success, because it can be challenging for some more than others when you're just so stuck in your ways and you're used to doing things the way that you've always done them. It is not easy for me. You would think, just because of the way it sounds, that it's easy to give up the title of being a sacrificial lamb. You no longer have to sacrifice. Shit, that should be easy. But when it has always worked for the embetterment of the people that you love, because again, you want what's best for the people that you love. When it has worked for so long, you don't want to give it up. But I have to. Excuse me. I have to. For my own healthy self. Heal thyself. That's what we on, y'all. Peace and blessings to you. I wish you so much success in your healing journey. And I hope that the valleys that you reach are only valleys to your next pinnacle, if that makes sense. Because you may feel like you're at the bottom when, everything is changing or you're forced into change. You may feel low, but I hope that low is only because you're at the beginning of another mountain. You're already at the top of the last one. You're at the pinnacle, like there's this line. So you're at the pinnacle of the last mountain when you're at the valley of a new. I hope this helps.